Good evening, everybody. We're so glad that you're here. Welcome. Again, Vivian Neuharth here, and tonight Matt Crouch. We're at Matt's home, and we're going to learn how to do crock-pot cooking. And he's been kind enough to open his home. But before we start, I just wanted to ask the audience if anybody did any of the recipes that we had before.
I make the oatmeal peanut butter protein ball. I make them into a ball. Instead of in a pan, I just put them in a ball.
Awesome. So who enjoyed those?
The kids, I had 7 kids that were at competition for 4-H in Rogers, Arkansas, and they had to have healthy snacks, so I was like, that's perfect. Had them in the cooler in a Tupperware and made them into little balls, and the kids devoured them the first day.
Awesome.
They were gone the first day.
Awesome.
They had 2 more days to go, but no protein bowl.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, what are you going to share with us tonight?
So tonight, one of my favorite recipes, and it's a vegan lasagna, and it's a crock-pot vegan lasagna. So if you prep it ahead of time, you can put it in the morning and put your crock pot on low, and then it's ready for you to go in the evening.
Okay, well, let's see how you do this.
All right, so the first step, and you can use, a lot of times I do my own sauce. I just been out of town lately, so I haven't been able to make any of my own sauce.
You need this one?
Yeah, we'll need both of those. First thing I like to do is actually, you can do 2 things. One, you can use olive oil spray to spray around your thing so it doesn't stick as less. I'm not going to do that tonight. But what I'll do is I'll just layer a little bit of sauce on the bottom. Get a spatula. So that way the noodles that we're going to put the first layer on the bottom won't stick to the bottom, and make it a lot less stick for you. So then the one that I prepared ahead of time actually has gluten-free lasagna noodles, or you can, this is a regular wheat lasagna, but I just buy a package, and if you want to go gluten-free and that, you can do that, so that way if people have gluten intolerance, you can have lasagna that way. So all I'm going to do is layer the bottom, and you don't have to preheat these or soak these or boil these. The crock pot and all the food and all the sauce will actually cook the noodles for you.
Awesome.
So I just kind of break it, and depending on the size of your crock pot, just layer the bottom right here.
What does it look like inside when you're layering?
Sure. So, is that a good shot? Fix that up a little bit.
Has anybody ever tried this? Have you tried this at home?
No.
And then I'm going to put a little bit more sauce on top of the noodles.
Like totally cover it?
Yeah, just put a little on there, and then take your spatula and just, cover over the noodle a little bit. It doesn't have to be thick. We're going to put the vegetables on, and then we'll put another layer of sauce. It takes a good 2 jars of sauce.
Okay.
Then you can do any of, so what I've got tonight is I love mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, those are my favorite. And then I have zucchini, which is another one of my favorites, spinach, red and yellow peppers, and then you can do onions or whatever other ingredients. And I like to sprinkle a little bit of just chopped raw garlic on each layer too, because I love garlic. So, all right, I'm going to start with the spinach, and I can show you that again, Fred. You just layer a little bit of the layer here. So, and then you just really, it's just taking a little bit of each ingredient and layering it. Oh, the other thing I didn't get out, let me get that out, is you can put vegan cheese on it if you want, or you can do it without. I personally don't put a lot of vegan cheese, but a lot of people like to have that. So I'm going to grab some vegan cheese. And I use Gaia cheese that you can get at natural grocers or any of the health food stores. And then we're going to sprinkle some mushrooms in there, and then I'll show you again, Fred. Put a little zucchini.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's, it's funny, when I talk about vegan cooking and being a vegan for 9 years, I tell my kids this all the time. When you eat, you want to have that rainbow coloring,
That's right.
and that's what's fun about that. Another thing you can do is if you have good fresh tomatoes, you could slice up a few tomatoes in there too. So here's a shot of it later.
And you want to tell them in 30 seconds your background really quick?
Becoming vegan?
Yeah.
Sure. About 9 years ago, I just felt, one, I was a little bit getting to the point where I was getting severe, I wouldn't say severe, I was overweight. I was, my normal weight's about 175 and I was pushing about 201. And I was having cholesterol problems. And then I also just, some religious reasons, I just felt like I wanted to go to a more natural way. And so I did a juice fast. Actually, Rick over here helped me with that. And I was doing a 10-day juice fast. While on that, I was just felt convicted that, you know, if I'm going to go through all this trouble to do this juice fast, I wanted to just change my whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so doing that, I decided to go vegan. That was 9 years ago, and been vegan ever since.
Awesome.
So again, I just thought I'd show you. I put a little sauce on top of there, and then threw another layer of noodles. And again, I'm going to put another layer of sauce on top of the noodles. And that, again, the reason why I do that is it helps the noodles cook. So.
And what kind of family upbringing did you get? What did your father do?
So my father had a company called Crouch Meat Company, famous for ground beef. And so his company served Wendy's in about 18 states. So I was raised a meat packer's son, raised on meat and potatoes. That's pretty much all we ate all my life. So I know how to grill steaks and chicken and barbecue and all that. But I've been, like I said, I like being vegan. It's challenging at times, but most restaurants nowadays offer tons of vegan options. You go to like the Bristol downtown even, they bring you a vegan menu.
Yeah.
So
That's
in
right.
Seasons 52, some of the nice restaurants will have a separate menu for being vegan.
Yeah.
So I got that layer, and I'm just going to start another layer of spinach, and peppers, and mushrooms, and zucchini again.
Do you think you could do this at home? Looks pretty good. Marilyn, would you do this at home?
I might do it for church. I mean, it's a fake recipe, there's only been two of us.
Right.
Well, you can, again, this is the big one. That's one of my dishes I'll bring to potluck.
Yeah, I was just thinking
But you
that.
can do a smaller crock pot and just, you know,
Just like
don't put
smaller.
as much of the material in, ingredient. But like I was telling Fred before we got here, we have one that you'll be able to try. I cooked today, and then this will be my lunch for next week. So, and it freezes really well.
There you go.
So I'll put it in some containers I get from Costco, and I freeze it and just pull it out, and then I've got lunch for the next week.
Cut it up and then put it individually.
Yeah, and I can show you the containers I use. I guess Fred, I should show you again. I've layered it with mushrooms, pepper, zucchini, and spinach again.
How many layers do you have in there right now?
I just go with 2 layers. You could go more, because actually when it cooks, it'll cook down. But when it's on there, you start getting to the very top. So you can do 1 more layer if you want, but I'm only going to do these layers here. And it still makes a pretty good size.
Will that stay together, or, you know, like when
It's a little more soupy than a traditional lasagna because your ricotta cheese and cheeses in a traditional lasagna hold it together more firm. So it is a little more soupy. So you want probably more of a bowl when you serve it. You can serve it on a plate, but we'll cut this one up here in just a second. You know, see, I think it's pretty good, but yeah, it's a little more soupy.
Now, do you have garlic in the one you cooked today?
Don't know, I think so. My wife did that one, so I told her everything to put in it, and
Yeah.
I think she did.
Surprise.
So I'm gonna put a little bit of cheese. Well, we'll put it on top. So we'll put the last layer of noodles on top. Usually, just have to break them a little bit on the side.
So how long do you cook this?
So you can cook it on high for 2 hours, or you can cook it on low for 4 hours.
Okay.
And you know, you can go longer, but I think she's got that one over there on warm. It starts to get a little more done than you want if you can do it for 2 hours. I like the on low for 4 hours better, but you know, if you're in a hurry and you want to get it done in 2 hours, it's a good. So then we're just going to put the last layer of sauce, and then we'll throw a little bit of vegan cheese on top.
And then we probably need to get to the next one.
Sure.
Yeah, since we're not vegan, what would that do if you put like, some other cheese on it? Or you could use
Absolutely.
like, when you serve it with Parmesan?
Yeah?
Yeah. You can use any of the cheeses that you normally would in a lasagna in any of the layers, and it'll cook just like a normal lasagna. Matter of fact, I think the original recipe was a traditional lasagna, and then somebody modified it for vegan lasagna. I'm gonna set this on the edge over here. Go ahead, put it in. And then, are you wanting to do your one next? Or you?
Now, I got a question.
Sure.
You think of lasagna as being Italian, does that lose its,
It's got garlic in it.
It's got the Italian sauce, pasta sauce. But yeah,
Do you have a favorite sauce that you use in there?
yeah, Classico's okay. Traditionally when I buy, I don't like sugar in my sauce. I don't like a sweet sauce, and so I try to look for anything either really low in sugar or no sugar. And I can't remember the one that I bought recently that I found at Natural Grocers. Again, the problem is sometimes it's a higher price when you get more natural. I love to make my own. That's my favorite thing to do.
He is a good cook. He does all kinds of classes on essential oils and teas. I've learned a lot from that. Well, I'm not going to actually demonstrate this for time's sake, but I brought you all recipes. This is Armenian lentil soup. How many of you have used lentils before? Okay, I'm telling you, you've got to get lentils in your diet. Lentils are so incredibly nutritious. And here are, you can pass those around. Those are two, there's three that I know of. There's green, brown, and red. The red lentils cook up really fast. And I brought a recipe here too for the Syrian red lentil soup. Incredibly delicious and easy. And with the Armenian lentil soup, lentils, brown rice, onions, lemon, Bragg's liquid amino. Remember we talked about that in another class. Bragg's liquid amino is a replacement for, or in place of, like soy sauce, a little bit healthier. And then a chicken style seasoning, garlic powder, dill weed, cumin, spinach, and diced tomatoes. This is my favorite lentil soup, and I've made a lot of different lentil soups. So you'll be able to try this one. And there we go, of course. Bragg's liquid amino, and I know you saw that before. It's got all the amino acids. And lentils are an awesome food because they're high in protein and they're high in calcium. And so they're so for getting that protein source for vegetarian, lentils are the bomb food. So.
High in iron also.
Oh, yes, high in iron. I remember Rick's wife was very, very low in iron, and they were poor back in that day. And so she was eating lentils like 3 times a day, wasn't it?
Every day,
Every day.
for about a year.
Yeah, for a year, and brought her iron levels up. So lentils is a great food. Anything else to add to that?
We use lentils too. Again, being vegan, I try to get a
Yeah.
wide variety
Yeah.
of protein.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, so you'll be able to try this one. And you're going to talk about.
Yep, and I didn't do a pre-one, but I'll show you one of my favorite breakfasts. Sometimes I like to do it fresh on the stove, but again, if you want to cook it overnight on low. I love oatmeal for breakfast. It's another one that is very healthy for you instead of getting sugary cereals. And so typically I have a smaller crock pot, as you can see here. And the ratio that I use is 1 cup of oatmeal to 2 cups of water. And we'll just put it in there. And then you'll just do your water. I'll go ahead and cook this up. I'll have my breakfast for tomorrow already.
You got lunch and breakfast.
And probably a
Good thing we came.
teaspoon of cinnamon. I don't typically measure, so I just kind of sprinkle some cinnamon.
We have talked about recipes are just suggestions.
Yeah, 2
So,
cups of water. You do need 2 cups of water.
yeah, okay.
And then, again, usually probably a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of vanilla, but I just pour a little bit in there. And then you just put that on low. And now I will say when you cook it in a crock pot slow overnight, it's a little more what I'd call mushy. And I like my oatmeal less mushy. So a lot of times in the morning I'll cook it on the stove, especially Saturday, Sabbath morning, I'll do oatmeal. And then what I would do in the morning is add like sliced fresh strawberries. Sometimes in the morning, like I'll come down and put some frozen cherries and blueberries, and so I'll have strawberries, blueberries, cherries, crushed walnuts sometimes on top. You can also add some flaxseed if you want flaxseed. Chia. Any of that can be added in the morning or even overnight if you want to cook it in there.
Okay. Okay, well, very good. And again, if you go online, I checked, there's just so many crock pot cooking ideas out there. I was just amazed. I mean, just pages. So go out and
One thing I would add with the oatmeal, for me, a lot of people like to add either brown sugar or honey. If you put lots of fresh cherries and strawberries in there, I don't add any sugar to mine or add any honey. I just eat it just
There
like
you
that.
go. There you go.
You use like almond milk or something with it?
You can, yeah. In my smoothies, I add almond milk.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming. And next time, I was thinking about doing some quick appetizers. You know, healthy appetizers. And how does that sound to everybody? Okay. Well, we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.